All right, people. Yeah, boy. 2/3 of the heavy hitters tonight. K Styles is not feeling well tonight. I think it's a case of food poisoning. All right, I think that ironic. The fat man with a case of food poisoning. All right. Yeah, he'll like that one. He'll like that, Joe. He probably even right now laughing at it if he's watching. But I have a feeling if he's not watching, he will be back. But hey, man, this is me and my boy Ju, me and my bro Ju. What's going on, Ju? Tell the people what you got going on today, man.
Hey man, it's another Monday. Look, we getting closer and closer to the season, the regular season. So y'all know what time it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. So echoing a little bit of the roll call. Y'all already know how we do it. Kill Sports and Tail. Where I get Kill from? Man, I can't read. Tail Sports and Gaming. Joseph, Triple G. Shut up, computer. Miss Asia Green. Everybody give her them roses. All right, got to get the latest of roses, fellas. All right, let's get it. Give her roses. All right, all the ladies get roses in there. Jamari Williams, Archangel, Reggie 2K, Tony, Brian People, Devon. Sheesh. Hey man, I hope I got all of them. It's going by fast, going by pretty fast. But yeah, man. That's pretty much it. Everybody else, welcome to the stream. Give you guys a couple more minutes to kind of get in, say hello. Again, if you did not catch the first couple of minutes of this segment, K Styles will not be here tonight. A case of food poisoning, the fat man with a case of food poisoning. But he will be all right. He will be hey, he blessed, man. Don't worry about that. K-Style, he'll be right back at it, telling jokes, doing what we do best is, entertain y'all. Weezy B, the real, everybody up in there. But hey, dude, let's get straight to it, man. I don't waste no too much time, man. I don't want to be too long, but so I guess I give him an hour today, depending on how everything go. But let's get straight to it. You want to get straight to the roster cuts? You just want to get straight into the quarterback? Because I know a lot of people have been kind of giving us, especially me, all right? I've been getting some crazy messages from everybody. They're in full panic mode about everything. So I really don't know where to start because there's so much to talk about as far as this team is concerned and how the fans see the team. Yeah, let's just go with the. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'll switch things up just a little bit, just because I want to go in a little bit order. I want to go in the order. I think this goes. Let's just start off right off the top, man. What are your thoughts on the quarterback controversy? I don't necessarily think there's a huge issue. I know a lot of people are wondering what if this, what if that. Or you have a quarterback like Matt Ryan. I mean, we paid Schaub so much money for like 3, 4, 5 years, and he never played a single game. So I'm not too worried about it. But what are your thoughts on the quarterback controversy?
I mean, when it comes down to the quarterback issue, I watched you guys post-game show the other night. I think it was like Saturday night after the game, and y'all were talking about injuries. And then when it comes to injuries, as far as the starting quarterback, to me, it's not many teams that could overcome their number one quarterback getting injured. Like if you think about it around the league, I'm not in a panic mode at this point because you got to think about it. Like I was thinking about all of the teams in the league and trying to think of like the backups for that quarterback. And I just start at the top. Most people believe that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. We seen him go down with an injury against the Browns in the playoffs. And they had to bring in, I think Chad Henne is their backup quarterback. He was able to get them to get them that win, but Patrick Mahomes had already built the lead. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like for any team in the league, if you go down the list of teams in the league, most teams don't have two quarterbacks that can lead you to the promised land. Like if your starting quarterback go down, unless you have a team that has a great defense, and that's kind of what Philly had the year that Nick Foles was able to win those couple playoff games, and they were able to win the Super Bowl. But also Nick Foles was a former starting quarterback in this league. So it's like if you look at the traditional backups in this league, if you go through all 32 teams, most teams are not going to be able to overcome their quarterback going down. Like I said, if you start with the Chiefs, even if you look at the Super Bowl champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if Brady somehow, some way goes down in that first game against the Cowboys, I don't think that Blaine Gabbert can get them to the promised land. Like as good as that defense is, this is the league this is a quarterback driven league. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I love defense. Defense does win championships, but you got to have some offense too. Like if your starting quarterback goes down, it's a wrap. So at this point, I just think everybody needs to calm down. They need to do like Aaron Rodgers say, relax. Just calm down. Yeah, just relax. Just calm down. If like I said, you can look at any of the top dogs in the league. If that number one quarterback goes down, depending on how early in the league, how early in the year it is. Like if you look at that Eagles Super Bowl run, pretty much Carson Wentz got injured like in week 15. He was like close to the end of the season. So Nick Foles just had to win a couple playoff games, and they were like the number one seed in the NFC that year. So it was like all they had to do was win 2 playoff games. And then they got hot and they got to the Super Bowl. But if your starting quarterback go down, I don't care who you are. You're not getting there. Like if you look at Kansas City, like I said, Kansas City defense is not strong enough to carry them to a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Even the year they won the Super Bowl, that they're an offensive team. And Pat Mahomes is at the front of that. You know what I'm saying? He's paid that $500 million contract he got was for a reason. So I just think everybody needs to calm down. Another reason we need to calm down is because Matt Ryan is an Iron Man. He's proven that. I don't know what diet he on. I don't know if it's pliability. I don't know if he's in avocado ice cream like Brady. But people don't talk about Matt Ryan, man. Matt Ryan is one of those guys that is durable. Like if you look at over his career, I think he's only missed 2 or 3 games in a 13, 14-year career. So I mean, I'm not really worried about Matt Ryan as far as the injury. You got to leave that up to the man above, the man upstairs. Freak accidents happen, freak injuries happen, but Matt Ryan has proven he the Chipper Jones of football. He doesn't get injured. This man does not get injured. So I'm not too worried about Matt Ryan getting injured, to be honest. I think everybody just needs to calm down. Now, if you want me to kind of go into who should we bring in, right? I would prefer bringing in a veteran because, like you said, as much as I talk glowingly about Felipe Franks, I wouldn't want to have to throw him to the wolves if Matt Ryan somehow goes down early in the season because his maturation process, he's not there yet. Could he be the starting quarterback for a couple weeks? Sure. But if he had to go the remainder of the season and say we like in week 2 or 3 and we got like 10, 12 games left, do I want to have to rely on Felipe Franks to, get us to the playoffs? I don't think that he's at that point yet. But I do think that he has a promising future. You know what I'm saying? I do think that we should keep him on the roster, continue to develop him. But I would bring in a veteran guy. I mentioned in my video earlier, somebody said Gardner Minshew to me if he's cut by the Jags. I think he's a solid quarterback because he has starter material. He's been a starter for the Jags. He's been in the league for a little while. Somebody stated we should bring back Matt Schaub. Personally, I think Matt Schaub is done at this point. But if he wants to come back, I think that he's a guy too over there that's holding the clipboard that can help Felipe Franks because if you think about it, that backup quarterback is really the eyes and ears for the starting quarterback. Like usually they're on the sideline saying, okay, Matt Ryan, on this drive, the defense was doing this. And that's the reason why I think that Felipe Franks is really not ready to necessarily be the number 2 quarterback or even be the guy if Matt Ryan were to go down. Usually that second quarterback is an elder statesman who's been around the league and he can kind of give you tips. Like, people don't realize Matt Schaub was actually like a second coach for Matt Ryan. He could tell Matt Ryan, look, this is what the defense is doing. So he's a second eyes and ears for that starter. And he also was the guy that's going to help that young guy come along as well. Not just Matt Ryan out there playing, but on the bench. Usually you have that veteran quarterback that can say, you saw that, Felipe, you see what Matt Ryan did. He can kind of explain what's going on while Matt Ryan's out there on the field. So I think bringing in a veteran guy would be the way to go. Bring in some type of veteran guy. I mentioned RG3 because he's a guy that's been around. I think he's a guy that can run this offense, this West Coast offense, where it's a lot of stretch plays, a lot of play action. He's a guy that can move outside of the pocket, kind of like Felipe Franks. But at this point, RG3 has learned that you can't be out there just running. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was younger, RG3 had to learn the hard way. You know, he was one of those guys that would bolt out the pocket. But if you've seen the last couple years, he was a guy that was sitting behind Lamar Jackson and kind of helping him develop in Baltimore. So I think a guy like that, either RG3, a Matt Schaub type. I don't prefer Matt Schaub because I think at this point Matt Schaub is done. But if you needed somebody that can win you a couple games, Matt Schaub proved it 2 years ago when we brought him in that Seattle game. He didn't win it, but he's a guy that can come in, especially because we'll be a run-heavy offense. He can make a couple throws. Like, we're not going to rely on that backup to be Matt Ryan, whoever you bring in. RG3, I don't care who it is. You're not going to bring them in to beat Matt Ryan. You're going to taper down that offense. The same thing we've seen, like I stated, with Nick Foles with the Eagles. If you remember that year when we faced them in the playoffs, they pretty much went to a strictly like that read option, RPO style offense where it's one read. You fake handoff, you look at that guy making that slant, you either throw it in the hole or you give it to the running back and let him do his thing, and you rely on your defense and slow the game down and pretty much play ball control offense where it doesn't rely on the quarterback making all of those decisions. So that's the reason why I'm not really panicking, like I stated, Mike, because even say if we didn't bring in nobody and it is Felipe Franks, you would taper your offense down at that point. If Matt Ryan goes out, the whole offense changes. And at that point, you just rely on the running game. And that's why we got all of these slower running backs. And you rely on your defense to put you on short fields. You rely on your special teams, and you just try to slow the game down. So it's not 30 and 40 passes, because we already know Arthur Smith's not going to do that with Matt Ryan. So if Matt Ryan somehow gets hurt, you taper it all the way down, and it'll be a really simple game plan. So even Felipe Franks, he could win a couple games based off of Arthur Smith's offense. Like, he could really simplify things for him. But I know I kind of ran it, so I'm gonna let you go ahead.
No, you pretty much ran exactly where I wanted to go with it. Let's just calm down, okay? I've said this multiple times. There's a reason why Julio Jones is not on this team anymore. There's a reason why he decided that he did not want to play for the team. And it had very little to do with the culture in Atlanta. The culture in Atlanta has never changed. That's one thing about Arthur Smith. He's not going to allow knuckleheads to come in and take over the franchise, whether you're a coach or you're a player or even front office man. That's the reason why Thomas Dimitroff is no longer the general manager, because when you looked in his press conference, he stated clear as day that a lot of these guys will not come in and try to throw their weight around. Thomas Dimitroff tried to throw his position around. He took advantage of Rich McKay not being there. Let's just be honest. Rich McKay was not there for a reason, and the reason being is the stadium. He's a lawyer. He had to take care of that thing. So the next guy in line that's in charge, it's the general manager. He's over the head coach. Unless the head coach has a deal like Bill Belichick, where he is the general manager, he gets to shop for the groceries and he coach, you're not going to see a lot of those guys. But when it all comes down to it, anytime that you have a quarterback, you lose your starting quarterback, you're not winning anyway. Your season is pretty much done. You lose your starting quarterback with the caliber of Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, you lose those guys, you're not going to win. You're not winning anyway. So it doesn't matter if we bring in Jameis Winston. It don't matter who it is. This offense is designed for that starting quarterback. So like you said, you're going to have to take down the defense and kind of dumb the offense down. So the guys who aren't, this is a new offense on top of it. So you're really going to have to dumb the offense down if you lose the starting quarterback. All right, 2. The offense was never supposed to be that We're not going to be one of these offenses we're going to throw 40, 50 times a game. You're not going to see that anymore. This is why in free agency, you had guys we brought in like Eric Harris, Deron Harmon, Mike Davis. We brought those guys in from anywhere from $2 to $4 million. We're not spending money on these big name free agents, and we're not going to, cater the offense just to all these offensive weapons. We're not doing that anymore. This is a completely different team. We're going back to playing solid defense, grinding the clock. That's the reason why we got 2 tight ends right now. We got 2 tight ends because we're going to check the ball down. We're going to get first downs. We're going to run the clock. That's what you're going to see from the Falcons. You're going to see them hit people in the face, hit them in the mouth, run the ball, keep the clock running, play some solid defense, and try to win games. That's the way you're going to see. So it does not matter if like he said with Felipe Franks. Felipe could win. He could definitely win some games. Why? Because the offense is already at this point is going to be dumbed down anyway. Felipe, this is why you saw him so angry during the game when he took that sack and he threw a couple of interceptions because he wasn't making the smart decision. And this is why I wholeheartedly agree with you when you say I would much rather have a veteran quarterback, even like a Josh Rosen. Even I know Josh Rosen is not the best quarterback. I would never say he's the best quarterback, but he knows not to throw certain passes. He knows not to take certain sacks. He's been in the league long enough to understand that. All he has to do is just, check the ball down. 5 yards, 10 yards here. You don't have to do too much. He's not going to put those guys in a position where they're going to have to win games. All right? And like I said before, you lose Matt Ryan anyway, we're not winning no more than 6 games. I'm just going to let you know right off top. We're not winning any more over 6 games unless that defense is the 2001 Baltimore Ravens defense, which I doubt. We're not winning no more than 6 games with Matt Ryan injured. So it doesn't matter if we bring in Gardner Minshew or whoever, or any, Taysom Hill, if he's available, whatever. You're not winning games. So when it all comes down to it, I know a lot of people are saying, heck no to Felipe, Josh Rosen, all these other quarterbacks. All these other quarterbacks, they look, they backups for a reason, okay? They're backups for a reason. We say this all the time. We had this conversation not too long ago. I believe it was last show where we was talking about you got maybe 10 to 12 quality quarterbacks in the league anyway. Everybody else is at the bottom of the barrel. You got maybe 10 quarterbacks that you can name that are, we can say, elite quarterbacks. That's it. Everybody else hanging on by a thread. So it all comes down to a quarterback position. Look, it is what it is. I'll just end it with this and go to the next. We're not winning games without Matt Ryan. Okay, I'm just here to tell you. You might as well be getting ready for the draft. If Matt Ryan get hurt and he's out for an extended period of time, we're not winning a lot of games. We're not winning a lot of games without Matt Ryan. And I don't believe that this defense at this point in time is a defense that can carry us to the playoffs. I don't see it yet. But let's get to the other roster. We can go down the line, or you can just kind of pick and choose what the guys that you want to start at. For me personally, I really want to talk about these running backs, man. I really want to talk about these running backs.
We're in the same vein, bro. We're in the same vein because that's what I wanted. I wanted to hit on first as well as the running backs, because we have a lot of good running backs, a lot of young running backs, and I've been hearing a lot of different things from a lot of different content creators, and like I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter. It's a lot of stuff that I don't like on Twitter, to be honest with you. And I'm kind of in my feelings because a player that I really like, I've been seeing a lot of negative about him. Like they think he's going to get cut, and it's Javion Hawkins. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that I want on this team because I feel like, what did I talk about earlier? Early before the season started, Mike, before training camp started, when we did a show. I think me and Twisted did a show, and I talked about I don't believe in having 3 and 4 running backs that do the same thing.
Right.
You need to have a variety. We need to be like Baskin and Robbins. You need to be 31 flavors. We need different flavors. I don't need the same type of player that can do the same thing. So I feel like Mike Davis, Quadri Olesen, Deontay Foreman, and Caleb Huntley. To me, all 4 of those guys pretty much are the same type of running back. They're downhill, they're physical, and I believe that out of Caleb Huntley, Foreman, and Quadri Olesen, those 3, I think one of those 3 is not going to make the roster. I feel like Javion Hawkins should be untouchable. And, of course, Cordero Patterson already is untouchable. You already know he's not going anywhere because he's the ace on special teams. So I feel like other than Hawkins, who else on this roster can do what he can do as far as in the passing game? I mean, Davis, he proved last year with the Panthers that he can catch out of the backfield. We've seen Cordero Patterson do it, but can Caleb Huntley, can Foreman, can Quadri Olesen actually catch the ball out of the backfield? Can they do anything else other than be physical and run downhill? You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen Caleb Huntley with that big run in this last game against the Dolphins where he scored the touchdown. But I don't know against the Dolphins, number one, their first string defense, because at that point it was the fourth quarter when Hawkins, they strung together a couple good runs. To me, Hawkins is the guy that's the wild card because he can do a lot of different things. And to me, he's the most explosive back on this team other than Cordero Patterson. So to me, he's untouchable, but I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they think he's going to be the guy that's going to be the odd man out. I hope not, because I feel like he's the James White of our team. He's the guy that's supposed to come in and do what Ito Smith should have done and been used the correct way, because we didn't use Ito Smith the correct way. We tried to use Ito Smith like we're using Quadri Olesen and these bigger running backs. We're trying to, have these guys run downhill. Same thing with Devontae Freeman. We didn't use those guys in the correct manner, and that's the reason why those guys got injured. But after Kyle Shanahan left, and if K-Styles was on the show, how many times have he talked about having running backs catch the ball out of the backfield? That's one of his favorite things to say. Yeah. We didn't use our running backs in the passing game. So I feel like Javion Hawkins, to me, that's what he's special at. Not only in running the ball, but catching the ball, like those swing passes, putting them in space and making a man miss. I don't know if Quadri Olesen, if you put him out in space, if he can make somebody miss. I've seen that he's physical, but I feel like all of the running backs we got other than Hawkins is physical. Patterson's physical. Davis is physical. So I feel like the only person on this roster that I've seen that's really like an elusive back or a scat back is Hawkins. So I would keep Hawkins, and I feel like Foreman, Caleb Huntley, and Quadri Olesen are going to have to battle it out for that last running back position. If it was me, I'm keeping Davis, which is the starter. I'm keeping Patterson. I'm keeping Javion Hawkins, and I'm keeping one of those 3 out of Quadri Olesen, or maybe 2 of them, because somebody could be on the practice squad. But somebody out of Olesen, Foreman, and Caleb Huntley's getting cut. That's how I see it, because they're the same running back to me. When I watch them play, I'm like, they do the same thing. All 3 of those guys are battering rams, but we don't need all of these unless you're just going to stash 2 of them on the, 2 of those battering rams on the practice squad. But I can't see us having 4 running backs. Like if we cut Hawkins, you got 4 guys that do the same thing. They just run downhill. And I don't know if I like that. I need more flavors. I need me some Neapolitan ice cream. I need some other flavors. Man, I can't do just all vanilla, all chocolate. Like we need some guys that's versatile. I mean, we've talked about it numerous times. If you're going to diversify your playbook and your portfolio, you got to have guys that can do different things. Because when we play against some teams, if they have linebackers that can't cover, you're going to want to have a guy like Hawkins that you can make those guys try to cover him out of the backfield, because that's what he does best. And I'll let you take it from there, Mike. And I want to hear what your thoughts is on the running back.
I wholeheartedly agree. One thing that I've always stated, that we have to remain calm. This is why a lot of these guys aren't head coaches, because they don't have the ability to stay calm. And that's one aspect of football that you have to have. If you don't have the ability to stay calm and stay cool and collected in times of turmoil, you're not going to last long in this league, whether you're a coach, player. You got to be able to have the ability to stay calm. And one of the things that I've always stated here in Atlanta Falcons Nation is that you have to have the ability to be creative. You can only be so creative when you got backs that do essentially the same thing. Now, I believe that Caleb Huntley is a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. I believe that Cordero Patterson is a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. But if those guys get hurt, and it's quite like we've seen in the NFL where, any running back at any given time can go down. We saw Zeke. We saw Saquon Barkley, the best of the best, go down with big-time injuries. So who are you going to bring in? If you have all these running backs, you become much more, a lot easier to you become a lot easier to defend when you have those types of players, all the same types of players. So when it all comes down to it, I truly believe that you have a guy in J.B. Hawkins that needs to and has to have a say at least on the the practice squad, because he gives you another dimension, an added dimension on the offense side of the ball. And he stated several times, just because I did this in Tennessee doesn't mean I'm going to be the same two tight end set play call. I'm going to call plays to the strength of my team. So just because we've seen two tight end sets, three tight end sets in Tennessee doesn't mean he's going to continuously do that. So he could completely go, out of his quote unquote norm. All right. So I'll come down to it, man. I like Caleb Huntley. It's hard because I need to see more from Mike Davis, even though I know that he's a very good back. I want to see him. I haven't seen much from him. I need to see Mike Davis in action. Even if it's for a couple of, runs here and there, I need to see at least 3 to 4 good runs out of him to kind of, to see what we're dealing with, because we don't know what we're dealing with. And maybe that's a tactic that he's using in the first game, how he's going to, attack these players. But hey, man, that running back position is really interesting. I'm going to continue to say this. Falcons fans got to chill. You got to chill, bro. There are 31 other teams in the NFL. We're not the only. I can promise you that we're not the worst. But somehow you guys, and look, before I go into that, look, LT, man, what's good, man? I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something about that, but I'm gonna save that for last, because I got some bone to pick with some content creators. I ain't gonna speak their name, but I got some bone. I got a bone to pick with a couple of them that I've been seeing. But hey, man, we started with the quarterbacks and running backs. You kind of give your idea of what to expect from. What you expect from the quarterback? What should they do? What shouldn't they do? And what's about?
First of all, good evening to everyone. Mike, Ju, how y'all boys holding up? Quarterback wise, okay, we got the news yesterday that AJ McCarron, he's done for the year, torn ACL. Be that as it may, a lot of people may feel like Felipe Franks is truly the backup. What I won't do is disrespect the young man. The man had some bright spots when he played. But in order for me to really trust him, I got to see more of him with his arm. Having the legs is good and all, but you got to be able to throw the ball downfield. You can't just expect to be an extra running back on the field. So I got to see what he does with his arm for me to really feel like he can be our definite backup. Which I'm gonna be honest with people, like it's gonna be hard for anybody to really fathom an undrafted QB to be a backup. That's very that really happens. Like you might find a diamond in the rough in a wide receiver, a corner, a linebacker, running back, whatever. Maybe even offensive line, but a quarterback, man, y'all gotta understand how important that position is. I do think he kind of deserves to make the roster. But you know they say they're trying out some guys right now, and I think we might need to sign a backup in place of AJ McCarron going down. Running back wise, that's a tough position. I mean, you already know, like I mean, you got to look at it, man. You already know Mike Davis, Cordell Patterson. They definite. They are permanent marker in on the roster. They gonna make the team. But then when you start looking at, I mean, well, I might now. I said Patterson and Davis are permanent marker. I could go as far as saying that Ollison is pinned in as a definite roster maker, but when you get down to like Hundley and Jalen Hawkins, then it's like who gonna make the team? You know what I'm saying? Like Hundley has showed some bright spots. I do believe in Jalen Hawkins in a sense. I feel like he could be like our Darren Sproles per se. That guy from not only like with like Cordell Patterson being a mismatch, but Hawkins can be very shifty. Come out the backfield, you get mismatches out of him. But like I said, Hundley has shown bright spots in him being able to run the football. So like I said, at that position, man, is very tough to really choose between those two. I feel like probably at this point it's gonna basically boil down to who really shines in this last preseason game. Like Hundley, I think Hundley kind of got like the edge a little bit for what he did last week. But it's like who really performs well this last preseason game, who gonna make that roster spot. Somebody gonna be able to make the roster, the other gonna probably be a practice squad, or one gonna make the practice squad and the other one just got to find work somewhere else. That's what it is.
Rashad, kind of give your thoughts on the quarterback position in preseason as well as the running backs.
Well, before I start off, I want to say, how's everybody, man? How's everybody doing? Especially everybody in the chat.
Good.
Hey, that's good as always. If y'all good, I'm good. Well, my opinion on the quarterback position right now, I have to coincide with Travis, man. Like with Felipe. I know a lot of people were excited about all the runs he was making, but it's like I need to see more than that, man. I need to see what you can do with the football. I need to see if you can decipher defense. Can you read defenses? Can you throw the ball in tight windows? Can you make the throws? That's what we want to see. We don't want to just see you running around with, okay, yeah, he had a 52-yard run, but okay. What does that mean at the end of the day if you can't throw the football? That is when we always say, okay, man, because everybody's so infatuated with mobile quarterbacks. What good is a mobile quarterback if you can't throw the football? It doesn't make sense. But as far as AJ McCarron, man, yeah, that's unfortunate. But, as always, that's just the nature of the business. Sometimes, there's just some things you can't control. But my question, and I want everybody to come up, with their own opinion on this. Who do you think we should bring in? Because, there's going to be a bevy of quarterbacks that are out there right now. I know a lot of people have been talking Matt Barkley. Some people have been talking Josh Rosen. There's a few other quarterbacks that a lot of people have spoken about, and I know it. A lot of those names are not flashy; they're not the big names. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. This ain't like Madden where you can just go get a brand name quarterback. You need somebody that knows the game, that understands the game. But that's how I feel about it.
You said something key, and Ju, let me get your thoughts on it. He said something that I really caught on there, and we're talking about quarterbacks who know the game. So when there's not a lot of quarterbacks out there that know the game the NFL game. A lot of these guys, they know the X's and O's. They can tell you, what this position that you're supposed to do here and there. But talking about knowing the NFL game and understanding certain things that you cannot do, tendencies, quarterbacks lining up a certain way, the footwork. Because one thing I always say with quarterbacks, defenders, they catch on to the smallest thing that you do. If your foot is turned to the left or turned to the right, or you're square, they know exactly what you're doing. They know exactly what you're doing. So it's like with Matt Ryan, mobile, a lot of mobile quarterbacks, you can't just focus on one aspect of the team. So, like, what do you believe that there is a guy that is on the bubble as far as being cut from any team? Is there a guy that, because I really can't see any guy getting cut, right? Because the quarterback position is like, we saw like four quarterbacks being taken in the top 15. So there's definitely a need for quarterbacks in the NFL. So it's like, who is there?
Well, I know I've said this before. When it comes to quarterbacks, it's like a crapshoot, man. We say this all the time. When it comes to the drive, when it comes to drafting a quarterback, it's like a crapshoot. Out of the 131 quarterbacks that have been drafted since 2010, only 11 have made the cut. Only 11 have panned out. So when we tell people that, man, driving a quarterback is not as easy as it sounds, they say, oh, we need to go get another quarterback. We need to drive a quarterback. I'm like, okay, does he fit the system? You see what I'm saying? Like, does he fit your scheme? This is all about, when it comes to drafting a quarterback, it's all about the fit. Does he fit your offense? Is the offense that you're bringing to your team, is it tailor-made for him? Like, look what happened to Mitch Trubisky. Drafted him to the Bears. The offense didn't fit him. Now he goes to Buffalo. Man's looking like brand new. He's making the throws. He's reading defenses. In Chicago, he wasn't doing that. And it goes back to the coaching. Coaching, hey man, we say it all the time. Coaching will make or break your football team. If you are not with a coach that's going to put you in a position to be successful, you ain't panning out, man. I don't care who you got. I don't care if we had Justin Fields or whoever. If the coaching ain't right, that quarterback is not going to pan out the way people think he's going to pan out. It's not going to work.
What you got, Ju? Then we go to LT.
I think he's completely right. Like, when it comes to, like I said before, as far as the backup quarterback, if Matt Ryan goes down earlier in the season, you can pretty much hang it up. Like you said, Mike, I don't know about how many games we'll win, but if Matt Ryan go down early, you can forget it. As far as the season, it all depends on if he goes down, when he goes down. I'm crossing my fingers and going by the data that we've seen. Matt Ryan is just not a quarterback that gets hurt. So he's the Iron Man. So I don't expect him to go down, knock on wood. Crazy things have happened. But like he stated, it's all up to coaching. We say it all the time. Great players can't overcome bad coaching. I don't care how great of players you have. We've proven that the last couple years. We have one of the best wide receiving cores. We had Julio, we had Ridley. Last year we had Hayden Hurst, we had Russell Gage. We had numerous weapons, but it's about knowing how to use those weapons. So like he was stating, as far as it comes to like the backup quarterback position, how I'm looking at it is I'm not too worried about whoever they bring in because I don't think they're going to see the field. I think Matt Ryan's going to be completely healthy. So I'm not too worried about who they bring in. But like I mentioned before, do I think that Felipe Franks could be the number 2 quarterback? I don't think that he's necessarily ready for that. He hasn't matured yet because he hasn't played in a regular season against the number 1 played against the ones. Because you got to look at it. In this preseason, he's not playing against the starters in most of these games. So it's going to look completely different when he gets out there week 1 if we face the Eagles. When Fletcher Cox is out there, Brandon Graham is out there on the field, it's a whole different ball game. Now, one thing I can say to Felipe Frank's defense, he wasn't out there with our starting O-line to protect him. He wasn't out there with Calvin Ridley and the receivers that's going to actually catch the football, because we've seen Tajay Sharp drop a touchdown.
That boy could not get open for crap. Let's be real. I'm so glad you went into that. Those guys could not get open at all, bro.
Exactly. They couldn't get no separation at all. It was like, what are they doing?
All right, let's relax. Let's relax, because you do realize now, because you mentioned that Felipe didn't play with against starters. In hindsight, he actually did. When McCarron went down, you played against Miami, who started lineup. And I don't get me wrong, like you said, Tajay Sharp and boys, they really couldn't. They couldn't.
Receivers. Yeah, we're talking about the receivers. Though, like the difference in the receivers.
And don't get me wrong, like Tajay don't matter, they couldn't get open, but you could. I guess like I be trying to find a positive out of things, because the negative is like, okay, yeah, Tajay Sharp and Christian Blake couldn't get open against the Dolphins, but yet the Dolphins was playing their starting defense against them for basically 2.5 quarters. Be that as it may, like now another plus side of that is if you look at that game Saturday where we went at halftime with basically our second and third string playing, and the score was like 14-3. I was expecting, the Dolphins to be up at least by like 21-3, 24-3, somewhere up in the at least getting big plays. They wasn't even getting big plays. So now, if I'm looking at Miami team struggling against my second and third squad, I mean, I can see why like really was having a field day at practice all week, because you're not killing my backups. So if you're not killing my backups, then obviously that means the starters is well prepared for this. Along with the fact that goes to show you how good the scheme is, because if the scheme is done properly to the point that Miami starters can't blow out our backups like they should.
He's got a point. You got a point now. I mean, because, for example, I know a lot of people were tripping about, why are we not putting out the starters, especially from the first preseason game. And I'm like, I know what Arthur's doing. It's like he's got it planned out. Like, he's like, okay, I'm just evaluating everybody else on the roster to see who's going to pan out. I don't need to put out my starters the first 2 games. The very last game, I'm going to put them out, and then I'm going to showcase how this offense can flourish. But, people got to understand, like, we don't have 4 preseason games anymore due to the new CBA, because the players wanted more money and based on the TV contracts. So you're going to have to improvise. You're going to have to change some things up. The entire league is trying to grasp these 3 preseason games now. Now with the third preseason game.
I got to be rude. I have to be rude. I'm sorry. I got to be rude.
Go ahead. Uh-oh.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I know it's gonna happen.
The Miami Dolphins defense was overwhelming against backup quarterbacks. You bragging about that? 3rd and 4th string offensive linemen, 3rd and 4th string wide receivers. They should have been up 100 points.
So hold on. So I'm saying, since Buddy said that, so we just go and negate the fact that I watched Jalen Mayfield manhandle Christian Wilkinson.
Christian Wilkins, throwing him around like a rag doll. He's a rookie.
He's a rookie. That man was getting manhandled.
He's so mad that he getting pushed around that he had to go try to pick on the damn kicker.
Kicker of all people on the team.
You what? I'm trying to keep calm. I'm trying my best to keep calm. But we're talking about none of our major starters played one single snap. Not one starter.
Not one.
Not one.
Isaiah Oliver is a guy. He is the starting slot corner. You can kind of throw him in as a starter if you want to count that. But technically, he's still not a starter.
Michael Walker. I mean, like I said, he's still not really a starter.
But like, those guys technically aren't starters. So we're talking about not on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball. Miami had problems making big plays. This is why I said the tweet that I had, these guys are slowly and methodically going down the field against third and fourth string players. Miami fans, I feel sorry for you. You better go get you a new quarterback.
Come on now.
That ain't it. He ain't it.
I'm just saying,
I ain't gonna throw him under the bus quite yet now.
I just want to say, hey man, I know Mr. Lee, come on now, bro. We talking about practice, man. Not a game. We talking about practice here, man. Come on now. Now it would have been a little better if we had our starters out there. Maybe the result would have been a little different. But come on, man. You got your first string against second and third stringers, man. That's not really.
I mean, to add to that, Rashad, is because let's be real. What have we heard about what have you heard about the joint practices all week? The Falcons' first team was killing it, offensively and defensively. They was killing it, and then people was looking like, well, what happened to all the talk that they were saying? I was like, well, this ain't our starters. They got their starters playing. Our starters not playing. There's a reason why our starters not playing.
And wait, hold on. I got, what's his name? Jay? Bro, you saying it's a game. It's a preseason is a glorified scrimmage. It doesn't really mean anything, man. You're not going to the Super Bowl by winning in a preseason game, man. Come on now.
C08 Detroit.
Hold on.
Way too many examples.
Hold on. Let me get Ju, because I gotta get Ju. All right. What?
My bad, Ju.
Explain to the people the purpose of the preseason. Please, let's educate the people, because these comments is just like, this is the reason why it ain't even week one. Not even week one, and we're talking about Miami Dolphins, Miami defense. Like, just please explain to the people what's the purpose of preseason.
To be completely honest, and this is what I stated on my video that I did today. Mainly what we're trying to see is the guys that are trying to make the roster. The guys that you drafted and these undrafted free agents that you brought in. We want to know, can these guys play on Sunday? You heard Arthur Smith say it after the game. He's like, I played my second and third stringers because I want them to see the real. Did you hear him in training camp stating that I had all of my offensive linemen go up against Grady Jarrett? Because that's what you're going to see on Sunday. On Sunday, you ain't going to see third and fourth and fifth string guys.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
Yeah. He said, I have them go up against Grady. If you can block Grady, because Grady is what you're going to see on Sunday. So I love what Arthur Smith is doing. He's saying, I don't care what you can do against these backup guys or the guys you're trying to beat out for a roster spot, because week one, you're facing Fletcher Cox, believe it or not. Whoever that starting center is, whoever that starting guard is, you're going up against Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and that whole crew that the Eagles got over there. You're not going to be facing their third and fourth string guys that you would face in the preseason. So I completely agree what Arthur Smith is saying. What you basically stated, Mike, the preseason is for these young guys. We already know what we're going to get out of Matt Ryan. We know what we're going to get out of Calvin Ridley. We've seen it in the open practices. He had them guys on skates. We seen him go up against the number one guys. He went up against Byron Jones. He had him on skates. He went up against Howard, Xavier Howard. They say that one of the best corners in the league. He pretty much burnt them on a go route. Right. So I mean, it ain't nothing else to prove. Like,
no, and Mike, do me
why striding at that? He wouldn't even run at full speed. Like, he's not in my eyes.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So what's the point of putting him out there on Saturday night against Xavier Howard when we've seen what he can do? We know what Ridley can do. Can't nobody cover Ridley one-on-one. Can't nobody. I don't care what corner you talking. Jalen Ramsey can't cover him one-on-one. Like everybody talks about when Julio and Jalen Ramsey went up against each other, it won't head up. He has safety help over the top. If you put him on an island out there with Julio or Ridley, Can't nobody cover Ridley one-on-one in this league. He's just too great of a route runner. We know how the rules are now. You can't touch nobody after 5 yards. Can't nobody cover Ridley one-on-one. That's the reason Ridley was talking to the Saints corners. They was yapping back and forth last season when we played the Saints. Basically, Ridley said, none of y'all can cover me one-on-one. You got help. That's basically what he was telling them. You can't see me. So pretty much the preseason, we just need to calm down.
That's it.
Preseason is not for these veteran guys. Let's just
like
calm down. Tua won't doing nothing. I'm on the side with Mike. I agree with LT when he said, I don't want to say that Tua's a bust. I'm not going to go as far as saying that. But I don't believe that Tua's a franchise quarterback.
He's going to struggle. That's my whole point.
I don't believe Tua's a franchise quarterback. And you can look, you heard it here from Ju. You heard it here from Ju first. I don't believe that Tua's a franchise quarterback. That's just
I don't see it either. I don't see it either. But I'm giving him some time to kind of like prove himself. But I mean, for what I've seen Saturday, it did not look like that man was the answer.
He looked like headlights.
Me and Mike talk all the time, and like I explained to him after the game, but like I had to work, so I really didn't get a chance to really see it. So when I actually sat down and watched the game back, like for what I've seen, if we being honest with ourselves, the Dolphins put up 14 points against us in the first half. That score could have easily been a 6-3 game or a 6-10 game. A couple, maybe like a tackle here and there that would have led to a fourth down would have easily put us in position to like have the like be in the game for the score to be way closer. That's why to me, them going in halftime at 14-3, it was kind of misleading because on the first drive they scored a touchdown. On a third down, Ogundeji was put in a position where he had to guard the running back Gaskins at the backfield. And Ogundeji was there, but he started slipping before he could get to the dude. So when he got his hands on him, he didn't have enough footing to finish the play, which led to them continuing to drive. If Ogundeji doesn't slip and he makes that tackle, they either punting or kicking the field goal. Like that drive does not end in a touchdown. So like for people like and what you brought up, like Arthur Smith having all of his linemen going against Grady Jarrett. Like me personally, this is why I felt like True Font was one of the better cornerbacks in the league because you get drafted in it.
He did that. Oh my God! You really just did that. You showed my boy True Font some. Oh my God.
Yeah, he did. I mean, True Font. True Font to me was always a good corner, despite what anybody thinks. Like I don't care what nobody say. True Font in 7-8 years he been. Well, how many seasons he played here? This man had to pretty much cover wide receivers for like literally 5 to 10 seconds. Like, come on, dog. Like that's a no go. And this man still was one of the better corners. He did not get tried by future Hall of Famers, All Pros, MVPs. Those guys did not try him. Don't get me wrong. It's no shot at Alford, but we know what Alford was. I watched Eli Manning play the Falcons several times, and he literally just stared in 23 direction. That's all he did. But when it came to 21,
right.
In 3 games that the Giants has played the Falcons and True Font was on our team, Eli might have thrown to that man's side of the ball maybe, and I'm gonna say maybe 12 times, and that's in 3 separate games in several different years. He does not try. True Font did not get tried like that. It was always off of getting tried. But if you give us a better front when we getting pass rushes and putting pressure on QBs, then it wouldn't look so bad on our back end. But what I was saying though, True Font had to go against Julio in practice when he first got here. That would elevated his game because you seen the best of the best of the best on your team. So going against Grady Jarrett at practice, he to me probably like the second best DT in the league behind Aaron Donald, of course. So if you got him going, if you got your backups and your starter seeing Grady Jarrett, you getting literally the second best defensive tackle in the NFL. You can't get no better training than that. You just can't.
And I want to take it. I'm gonna get Rashard's, and then we go to Ju. And we're going to hit the defensive side of the ball a bit, and we're going to talk about the corners. Kind of ran into it. We're going to talk about the corners, man. Which corner for you? Even if it's not just the corner, if it's the scheme and it's something that stood out to you as far as the defense is concerned, the defensive back, it can be a corner, it can be a safety. Do you like how Dean Pease is using these guys? Do you like how this guy's performing? Who is that guy for you, Rashard?
Well, honestly, the guy for me that I know a lot of people still kind of throw some flack at is Oliver. I feel like now, they put him in a position, I think by putting him in the slot or has kind of elevated his game a little bit because when he was going to the outside a lot, dude, he was getting burnt, man. Man was getting burnt to a crisp because when you were in that cover 3 scheme, man, it just didn't work for him. But now when you see him in P's defense, he looks much better. It's like night and day. But as far as the other corners, safeties like Herman and Harris and AJ Terrell, there's a lot of people that need to apologize to AJ Terrell. There's a lot of people that need to really apologize to him because when we drafted him, a lot of people were just throwing a lot of flack at him. They was hating on him for no reason. Now you see him starting to come into his own, and I feel like
I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't no liar. I'm not a liar. I tell you, I said, what the fuck are y'all doing? That was my exact words. When I saw AJ Terrell, I say, are you kidding me?
They need
that's the look. Everybody said it. Don't try to act like I'm the only one. Everybody said, what the hell are they doing when they saw AJ? But when I started looking at his film, looking at his tape, I was like, oh my God, like this dude really is that big because he was a physical corner. And it just kept saying the same plays over and over again. And David, we were gonna get it. I want to save that this super chat for right after this. So do not go anywhere. We're gonna answer that. But Ju, you finished? But I'm sorry. I just had to say that. I'm not one of these fake. Look, I'm not one of these people out here. These content creators that's gonna act like they got everything. They got everything right. I'm on record. Y'all, if anybody who follow me on Twitter, what was my handle for a long time? Vic Beasley, #1 supporter. Okay, so I'm not gonna run away from it. I say what I say, and I'm gonna stick behind it. So you right, Rashad. AJ Terrell is definitely that dude.
I mean, when you look at AJ Terrell, I tell people all the time when it goes back to coaching. One thing about coaching is that if you're not teaching these guys all about technique, that player ain't gonna pan out there. It's not. That's why Big Beasley, as much as a lot of people get on Big Beasley a lot, but let's keep it a buck. Big Beasley was supposed to be a 3-4 outside linebacker. You had him at 4-3 defensive end. You had him going against guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 300 plus, and he's 6'3". I mean, let's keep it a buck. Coaching matters, ladies and gentlemen. Now you see the difference with AJ Terrell, man. Better coaching. You see him flourishing right now. I wouldn't be surprised if AJ has a breakout year. Just imagine this. And I'm not trying to be, going to revisionist history. Just imagine Vic Beasley and Dean Pease defense. Think about it, man.
I'm gonna stir the pot real quick. I want to stir the pot real quick. What if they bring back Vic Beasley? Okay, I'm going on mute.
Hey, go ahead.
He went on mute so quick.
When it comes to the secondary, do you want me to talk about the players so far in preseason or just anybody in our secondary?
Just anybody secondary. Just anybody in secondary or just the players that's like what you have noticed.
I'm gonna say Fabian Monroe. He's the guy that I was watching in the preseason game that we had. He played a couple snaps. And one thing that I look at with cornerbacks, and a lot of people don't look at this, they just want to know if you can cover. I like cornerbacks that are physical, that are not afraid to come and tackle, come down in the run, support, and tackle. That was one thing that I loved about Charles Woodson that just went into the Hall of Fame. He was one of those corners / safeties that will come down and hit you, just like Isaiah Oliver. He's another guy that I talked about where he'll come down and hit you. Not only can he cover, but he's good in open space, being able to tackle guys in open space. So I feel like our Falcons over the last couple years, one of our biggest problems is yak yardage, meaning yards after catch. We haven't had many corners that were good at tackling one-on-one. Like he was just talking about AJ Terrell last year. Yeah, last year, AJ Terrell was one of those guys Mike did a breakdown on his channel. Y'all go check it out, Mad Mike Sports, where he showed the physicality of AJ Terrell, the physicality of a guy like Isaiah Oliver. And now we have another physical corner with Fabian Monroe. If you go pull up the tape of the preseason, he was coming down and he was hitting those running backs one-on-one. He wasn't waiting on no help. He was coming to get you. And that's what you need in today's NFL, because the ball is going to come out quick. And with a lot of these teams running the West Coast offense, Brady gets that ball out of his hands within 3 seconds. If you look at Tua in this game, that ball was coming out quick. It wasn't a lot of 5 and 7 step drops. That was 3-step drops, ball gone. And you got to tackle a guy like Waddle in open field that's quick and shifty. So you got to have corners that are willing tacklers and that actually can make one-on-one tacklers, because it may not be somebody out in space with you. And we've seen over the last year, if you go look at the tape, I believe it was 2 years ago when we faced Tennessee, when they had Marcus Mariota, they ate us alive. AJ Brown ate us alive with plays where he caught the ball across the middle and ran like 50+ yards for a touchdown. It was like plays like that where we were just terrible at tackling in open space. So the guy that I'm looking at, Fabian Monroe, Isaiah Oliver, AJ Terrell. If you look at these guys, all of the cornerbacks that we have now are physical. They'll tackle you. When Brian Poole was here, he was a dude that I love because of his physicality. He was one of those guys like a linebacker. He was an extra linebacker. You could put him in the box. He wasn't afraid to come downhill and hit you. And this is a downhill style of defense. We're no longer sitting back and letting teams do what they want to do and give up the short stuff. We're going to press up and get up on you, and Dean P's going to send them dogs after you. He unmuzzled the dogs. He's sending them dogs. He's sicking them dogs on you. So you got to have corners that can hit. And we got guys, man, these corners, they can hit. These guys are not afraid. Even our safeties. Eric Harris, he's not little like Ricardo Allen. He's 6'1", and he's 200+ pounds. He's going to come downhill and hit you. You go look at his tape when he was with the Raiders, that dude is very physical. So that's what I'm loving out of this defense is all of our corners, for the most part, are physical. They can tackle, and we're going to see the difference in open space. Wherever you catch the football, you're getting tackled right there. You're not going to run 15 and 20 yards down the field after catching the slant. You're going down wherever you catch it, and that's going to be huge this year for our defense.
I just gotta do something right there. Just let everybody know Georgia's still in this bitch. All right, I'm done. I just had to do that. Look, I'm still a dog. I'm still a dog. All right, still a dog.
I am too, bro. I am too, but I ain't ready yet. You know my favorite. You know my favorite thing. I like to say. I got to see 3 games: Florida, South Carolina, and Tennessee.
Yeah, I got to see something.
Now, can I first of all, Ju, I did not know that Eric Harris was that big. I did not know that man was 6'1", 200+ pounds. Yeah. I did not know that. I will say this. Monroe did show me something. Like I don't even think he played that first preseason game, but he did play last Saturday. He was very decent. But a person that has shown me something has been I think his name Williamson.
Chris Williamson.
Williamson. He's came across my screen pretty often. Like, even though he gave up a TD pass against Tennessee last week, like, he was there and he was fighting. I mean, like, all he had to do was turn his head around. Like I said, I feel like that's better with practice. But like the fact that he plays bump and run so well and he sticks to the receivers. And one thing you did brought up is what I've been preaching about last week, because like everybody might have been looking at, we lost the preseason game in Tennessee. My thing is watching that defense, because I noticed what you just said. Like, we always gave up a lot of yards after catch. Like, when Dean P sent the blitz, man, when I tell you, like, if the receiver caught it, he went down right then and there. It wasn't he caught it and ran another 15 yards. Like, once he caught it, he was down. If you catch it, okay, cool, you caught it, but you feel get tackled right here and now. That's what we've been missing, like you said, what we've been missing on this team. And, like, for me to see that in the last couple of preseason games, I am perfectly fine with that. Like I said, for me, like, the corner that sticks out to me has definitely been Williamson. He's been very physical with the receivers. Even when it came to him catching it, he making sure he makes the tackles for the most part. The man could possibly, make the roster as a special teamer, if any sort. But like I definitely like the fact that our secondary could definitely come up and make plays. and whatnot. Even matter of fact, because I'm not. Was it Monroe that they sent the blitz with last week? I can't remember. I got to go back and watch it again. They did seem like a corner blitz, which led to Tua getting sacked. So, but I mean, like you said, just seeing what Dean Pease has done with this defense, man, this secondary could be very lethal. Really and truly, all three levels of defense will be lethal. Just the way how Dean Pease like schemed those guys to be in the right position to be successful. Like, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see what they got, what he have up his sleeve come week 1. Especially like the fact that we so used to having like no name quarterbacks just gash us. I am so sick of that. Thank you, Jesus, Dean Pease is here, because I feel like those days are long gone. I mean, I'm tired of seeing rookies go down the field and like you've been struggling all season. Play the Falcons, you got 340-yard passing game. Like how? He had 210 last week. Now he got 450. Like why? Why had to be the Falcons? I'm tired of. I had to sit here and watch Teddy Bridgewater gash us for his first breakout game. I had to watch Geno Smith walk down the field on Monday night to get a game-winning field goal. I had to watch the Swiss Army knife in New Orleans throw his first ever 2 touchdown passes in NFL in his NFL career. I had to watch Crab Leg literally come into the NFL in 2015 and then go and sweep us in the division. I had to watch so many non-talented, I'm gonna say non-talented, so many QBs that really wasn't elite have great days. Like even the game that you brought up, the Tennessee game in 19, Mariota was trash for 2 weeks straight. And then he came and had an all-pro day against us just for him to get benched the following week. Like, why is this happening? I'm tired of seeing that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Mike, I had to pull it up real quick, Mike.
Go ahead.
Is 6'2", 220 pounds. So he's not 6'1", 6'2", 220.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big dude. He's a big dude to play safe.
That's a Steve Atwater size dude. Like, dang. If y'all don't remember Steve Atwater, that dude was a monster. He's like,
oh yeah, but Atwater, see Atwater not to play with.
Yeah, so he's about the same size as Atwater, and let's kind of get into this. I'll eventually get back to that, but let's get to this super chat, man. David Willis, I hope that's the right name. I'm on this smaller computer, so these letters.
Yeah, it's Willis.
StreamYard. These StreamYard are just. These letters are really hard to read on StreamYard on the smaller computer. But
you know, old people can't see this out wearing glasses.
Man, shut your ass up.
Well, hold on now. Before you say it, we gotta give David Willis that $4.99. You know,
holla. Hey man, given that Arthur Smith has moved several players up the depth chart, why has Frank Darby not been moved up? Because his ass is not ready. It really just that. Arthur is not going to wait on guys to get it. You either get it or you don't. He's in the game. He's in the business of winning games. If you don't get it, you don't play. That's the way it should be. This is no longer the old Falcon regime. I drafted you at 2. I draft you at 5. If you get it, if you play well, you're going to get it. So not saying that Frank Darby doesn't have, because I've seen, you know, even this past preseason game, I mean, he went up and he snagged the ball out of the air with one hand. So he has potential, but potential is not all. You got to understand the small concepts, because what we saw with A.J. McCarron, and I think a lot of that has a lot to do with the receivers not being able to get open. And even with Felipe Franks, Felipe held on to a couple of balls because his receivers just weren't getting open. And like I said, this is why we want to, take it easy on him as well as A.J. McCarron, because we saw Sharp drop a wide open touchdown. That was a much better game than people give him credit for. Like, that is for a rookie quarterback. When you see receivers drop easy touchdown, that goes like that plays on in your head. Like that. Look, quarterbacks are very sensitive. Okay, let's just be real. quarterbacks are extremely sensitive. From Tom Brady to Matt Ryan, you hit these guys, you drop a few passes, they start to lose a little bit of confidence. This is the reason why you saw Miami throwing, those dump all passes with Tua. You know what I'm saying? Because he needs to get in the rhythm. He needs to feel confident about himself. So when you see a guy like Frank Darby not playing, he's not there yet. A lot of these receivers, tight ends, backs, they're not used to the contact. They're not used to the speed. And this is why Javian Hawkins, everybody's saying that Javian Hawkins is a guy that's struggling right now because this is the NFL. He's not playing with these little boys no more. All right. He's not playing with walk-ons anymore from Appalachian State. And don't disrespect the Appalachian State, but he's not playing against them no more. He's playing against straight up dogs in the field. So this is a whole nother, you either get your confidence fast or your ass get left behind. And this is what Frank Darby is up there. Let's get one more super chat. Mike Jones. All right. What I see from the team so far. Appreciate the super chat. Hey man, I love what I see for the team. And like I said, for me personally, I don't really give a damn about the talent. I'm looking at the scheme. And one thing that I seen from the scheme, and I want to give everybody's thoughts on it. As far as the scheme is concerned, what stood out to you? What I like most, and I said it before, these coaches are actually getting into these players. They actually on the sideline, you see them in their face, holding their shoulder pads. You need to do this, you need to do that. You see the veteran players teaching. I love that. We didn't see that under Dan Quinn. Everybody looking at Dan Quinn, for him to see if he is going to do anything. And we got players doing this. Am I supposed to talk? That's what we saw. They were scared to say anything. I don't know if they were going to get fined or cut, but they were scared. So that's what I like most from the team so far. What do you guys like? You can go Rashad, or you can go Rashad. They get your as far as the team.
Man, honestly, I love everything that the coaching staff has done thus far, man. I like the sense of accountability, which we didn't have under Dan Quinn. And that's the one thing I've always harped on with his coaching staff. You didn't hold anybody accountable. You was running the team like it was a country club or something. Being all buddy with the players. It's every single time we would see them mess up on a play, he want to give them a high five and a hand clap. No, man. You get on them. You tell them this is how I want you to do it, not the other way, man. We don't seen too many times where a person go make a play. He mess up. Like Brian Poole, Robert Alford against the Saints. Instead of them handing their assignment, they let Drew Brees just do a little spin move and go into the end zone. Under Arthur Smith, I see guys being held accountable. I see guys paying attention to detail. If they mess up on something, you got them boys running laps. I love that. Mm-hmm. Now, some people may say you doing this and doing that. No. I really like this approach that Arthur Smith is conducting with this team. He's creating a culture of toughness, and that's what we need. That's what this team has always needed. Because we've been, in my opinion, nothing short of a finesse football team. And it kind of goes back to what Travis said earlier. Why do you think people used to call us the get right team? A team would have a bad week, go against somebody else, but then when they go against us, they get right. Everything goes right for them. They do everything right against us. And I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of our team being the doormat for everybody else to win games or to win a championship. To me, I feel like with Arthur, those days are over with, man. It's time for us to be the bully. And as I've said before, you can't play no bully ball if you ain't got no bullies, man. It's that simple.
What you got, Jude?
What I like so far about this new coaching staff is they're saying what they mean. They're meaning what they saying. When we had DQ here, He kept saying, I'm going to play the backup running backs. I'm going to give Quadri Olison a chance. I'm going to give this guy a chance. We're going to see what Deidre Sanat can do. If you're looking at this preseason, we've heard Arthur Smith say nobody's guaranteed a spot. You're going to have to battle it out. We've seen Dante Fowler, number 2 on the depth chart and things of that nature. Arthur Smith don't care about hurting these players' feelings. He's treating all of these guys the same. And that's one thing that I love about Arthur Smith. He don't care about your feelings. He wants to see you out there putting out that production on the field. And he's giving all of these guys a fair opportunity. We've seen every single running back on this roster in the preseason carry the football. So it's no excuse when the cuts come down. All of these guys have had the opportunity to show their stuff, show what they can do when the bright lights is on. So that's one thing that I like about this regime. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet like that. They're telling us this is what I'm going to do. And he's doing it. We heard Dan Quinn say certain things. We're going to give everybody a fair chance to play. We're going to go. We didn't see anybody but the same players. We've seen the same player. Tat McKinley, we wrote out the same players every single Sunday. The same guys. We didn't give guys opportunities. That's why we still have guys on this roster that we really don't know what they are. John Kaminsky, at this point, we should know what John Kaminsky can do.
Oh, my God.
We don't know what, even with Deidre Sanat, when we let him go, we really don't know what Deidre Sanat can do because he didn't get in enough games, even in the preseason. He didn't get in enough games to know what he can do. This dude was always inactive. The same thing with Quadri Olison. At this point in Quadri Olison's career, we should know what he can do well, what he good at. We seen that guy 2 years ago get multiple touchdowns in the red zone on the goal line. Then last season, this man is inactive pretty much the whole season, every single Sunday. And the excuse was, well, he doesn't know how to understand the blocking scheme or whatever it was. But it's like you didn't give this guy a fair opportunity, or you didn't put this guy in the positions where he could succeed. We seen that he was good in short yardage, so why didn't we use him? We continue to roll out the same players, Edo Smith, Todd Gurley. And then at one point, we even took Todd Gurley out of the game for the most part last season. So it was just like we've seen the same guys over and over and over again. And basically, the last regime lied to us. Let's just be real.
Basically. That's
I'm gonna leave it at that. I can say Arthur Smith is a man of his word. I'm seeing all these guys he bragging about. We've seen Willie Beavers. He was getting whooped on, but he was out there. All of the guys that he's mentioning in these press conferences, we seen Foreman last week carry the ball. So I know what he can do. A lot of the guys that was here in the last regime, I don't know what these guys can do because they didn't play. Right. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Trey, what you got?
Hashtag embrace the suck.
Oh my God, no, we don't need.
But for what I've seen and what I like about the team, I agree with everything. I agree with everything y'all said. But for me, I'm because y'all been talking about this team overall. I'm gonna go to the play. The scheme of this team, I can see this. It can work. I watch how. Now, don't get me wrong. Offensively, they didn't really look too sharp the last couple of weeks. In a sense, I definitely saw an improvement from week 1 in the preseason to week 2 in the preseason. But I will say that, like, the scheme of things, like, is thought out. It's actually they're actually taking their time and actually really like in the meetings and talking to one another about what they're trying to do to put each and every player that's on the field in the right position to be successful. Like even at the point where we even seeing halftime adjustments now. Like we're never getting that. I've seen where if certain things that weren't going off the Smith way offensively, he switches it up. So like I mean, and plus like you said, to add what y'all saying, everything they saying, the way the team is being constructed, they mean saying what they mean, what they say. I mean, we all saw the mic up of Arthur Smith literally yelling at somebody saying, "Get back in the huddle. What the hell you celebrating for? You gained 2 yards. Get your ass back in the huddle."
Yeah, he was like, "Get back in the huddle."
Like, yeah, right. Like, the last regime, everybody, hey, man, good job. We're just trying to get in there. And like, no, none of that. All that's out the door. We don't. Excuse my language, but basically, Arthur Smith saying, "Fuck your feelings."
Right. Absolutely.
That if they want to put "embrace the suck" on the shirt, that should be on the shirt. Fuck your feelings. With a dash that says Arthur Smith on it. I might get one. I might get one made. But like that's the way the team is. That's what the team is constructed. Like they're not here. They are being firm. They're being fair. Yeah, you can tell he could be a little light up. You know, he could have a little fun at practice. He cut a couple jokes in there, but when it's time to work, it's time to work, and that's what we've been missing. Lord knows how long. Like, and I'm glad that Arthur Smith, Dean Pease, and the rest of this coaching staff is doing that. They are getting these guys mentally and physically prepared for a longer, gruesome season than ever before. And I'm very excited to see what we're gonna have in store for us. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, we're gonna get into some Q&A, but I saw a comment that that piqued my interest a bit, and I want to see more Derrick Henry Hole on the last game. Look, the NFL has become a game of balance. You're not going to see that. Okay? These guys are too smart. They're too athletic. And you're not going to get the same things over and over and over again. Unless you are Julio Jones, where you can just get whatever the hell you want, when you want it, how you want it, you're not going to see that. But even Julio Jones, he had his limitation. You know what I'm saying? So let's just, all this fantasy, I'm sick of, and has nothing to do with you. It's just the culture of sports in general. We have labeled guys superheroes. LeBron a superhero. Clay, Steph, these guys are superheroes as if they don't have limitations. They can't do that. Like LeBron can't shoot consistently as most guys. Okay, Steph Curry is not a guy that is very physical. You can push him around. You got to catch him to push him around, but you can push him around. You know what I'm saying? He's not a very good defender. Trae Young is not a good defender. All right, Matt Ryan can't run 4.4. You know what I'm saying? Russell Wilson is what? Below 6'2", 5'11", if he's barely so.
I'm about to say the bus is only below 6 feet.
And he might be under 6 feet. So these players have limitations. So when we talk about Derrick Henry had a massive, he held that Tennessee. And I'm going to say this, I've said this before, but people think I'm just crazy. I'm just this mad scientist. I'm just saying stuff. No, I'm very cerebral. When I look at that Tennessee offense, he held that offense back. Why? Because he was a one-trick pony. He cannot catch the ball. Derrick Henry cannot catch the ball. I saw several times where he's standing right in the wide open in front of linebackers, in front of safeties by himself, and Ryan Tannehill did not even check the ball down to him. Why? Because he can't catch. He's a great runner, but he can't catch. So in essence, did he really hold that Tennessee offense back? Did he really showcase what he can do as an offensive play caller, Arthur Smith? I don't think so. So this is the.
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish. Though. I'm gonna let you finish. But I just want to add. I just want to add that you can't get Derrick Henry size holes without your line having continuity. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
There you go.
And that's it. Like I said, there's a lot that goes into just that. All right, Derrick Henry is a big guy, but we got to give the credit to that offensive line and the player, the coach. We've seen this time and time again. Even when you have a team full of free agents undrafted free agents, 4th rounders, 5th rounders, 7th rounders. Those guys play well because they have great coaching and great play calling. Look, let's be real. I don't want anybody on that. Maybe outside of Ramchek or whatever the hell his name is for the Saints. I don't want none of them trash ass offensive linemen. All right, they are some garbage. That offensive line is straight doo-doo, okay? Doo-doo. God. Capital doo-doo, okay? You name anybody outside of Ramsey that you want. Outside of that offensive line is crap. Even, look, y'all know it. You saw what happened to Drew Brees when he got in there. That man, they broke his liver. They broke everything, all right? I'm just saying that. They broke everything because they're not a very good offensive line. So when I come down to it, it's all about play calling and continuity, man. All right, so let's hold on about giving these running backs, because we've seen plenty of times these running backs, they have a 2,000-yard season and then they go right back and straight into that. Now, I know Ju, you know what I'm saying? Give the thoughts on the running back, Ju, because I know you into that debate.
I mean, you already know where I'm going with it. After those 2,000-yard seasons, usually those running backs tend to break down. And where I kind of wanted to take it when you was referring to the star players as superheroes is sometimes you go to that well too often, meaning you rely on that star too much. So that's why with Julio leaving, I wasn't happy to see Julio go, because Julio is a freak of nature. Julio is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. But I feel like at times, even Matt Ryan felt obligated. If the game is on the line, I'm gonna get a ball to Julio. And when Kyle Shanahan was here that first season, we seen everything was revolved around Julio, getting Julio the ball. That one season, I believe it was in 2018, where the media kept making a big deal out of Julio scoring a touchdown. Julio hasn't scored a touchdown. Now I remember the game in Washington where he caught like a screen pass and took it to the end zone, and all of the team was like surrounding him and super hyped that he finally scored a touchdown. And Julio consistently said, I don't care about stats. I just want to win. And that's what it should be about, winning. That's what it should be about. But so much of the media always talks about the stats because of fantasy football and the things, things of that nature. We're worried about the stats. How many touchdowns can this person put up? How many yards did this person have? And that's a reason why, to be completely honest with you guys, the New England Patriots for years never had a star wide receiver. Bill Belichick didn't want it on that team. He didn't want it because you rely on it too much. Like, think about this. The Patriots, out of all of the great wide receivers, or all of the wide receivers, the average wide receivers they had, when they had one great wide receiver in Randy Moss, they didn't win the Super Bowl. He was the best wide receiver they ever had, like as an individual, but they didn't win the Super Bowl that year.
Even the second best one they had was Ocho, and they didn't even win with him.
They didn't win with him either. And that's what it goes to show you. That's why I'm not panicking with the whole Julio not being on the team, because if you look at around the league, you don't have to have a star wide receiver to win a Super Bowl. You just got to have guys that fit the scheme. As Rashard was mentioning earlier, if you got the right type of wide receivers and the chemistry is there, you can get to the promised land. You can win the whole thing if all of those guys mesh correctly and you use these guys and put them in the right situations. You don't have to have that star wide receiver, but that's what the media wants, because that's what sells. As Mike always talked about Julio sold tickets. Mike Vick sold tickets. So that's what it was about. But to be honest, now because Julio's not here with that, being that superstar, that really is a burden off of Matt Ryan, to be completely honest, because now he doesn't feel forced to throw the ball or force the ball to one person. Now he can spread that football around, whoever's like open. Like you want to. Yeah, spread that ball around just like he did the year that we actually went to the Super Bowl. If you go look at Julio's stats, yeah, he did his thing, but Matt Ryan threw to 13 different targets for touchdowns, something like that. Yeah, spread the ball around. That was the reason why he was the MVP. So that's what I'm really focused on this year. Is I want to go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, but I was gonna say Julio was tied in the team lead with 6 touchdowns that season when we went to the Super Bowl. Who was tied with the team lead with him? Do anybody know?
Hold on, say it again. I'm reading Tony.
I'm saying Julio.
I'm sorry. He's trying to prove to me that the Saints got a good offensive lineman, and everybody he named, I don't even know who Andrew Speak. Why? Because I saw Grady Jarrett put that man in the dirt plenty of times, right along with Eric McCoy. I've seen Grady Jarrett put that man in the dirt. So I ain't trying to hit that, but my bad.
No, I was saying Julio was tied. He had 6 touchdowns that season when we went to the Super Bowl. But he did the lead, he was tied as a team lead. Do y'all know who the person he was tied with?
I don't know.
Y'all can't name him? You can't name him?
Spreading that thing around.
It was Taylor Gabriel, a person that was waived by the Cleveland Browns. At the end of that preseason.
Yeah.
Julio had 6 TDs that whole year, and he was tied with Taylor Gabriel for the team lead. So that goes to show you when you spread the rock around, or as we said, when you spread that Taylor around, like when everybody getting some love, it makes it hard for defenses to really key on you because everybody getting love. I mean, for crying out loud, what that boy named DJ Tuilavaya, he caught a touchdown pass. And the boy ain't probably played another down in the NFL since. That's all I'm saying.
Let me say this, all right? Because people just like Tony. It just I don't know what his problem is tonight, but he just and like he insisted on embarrassing himself, saying that offensive line is very good. They're not very good. They are well in sync together. Okay. There's a difference between being individually good as an offensive lineman and being in sync as a great offensive line. And what the Saints are, because of great play calling, are in sync. I just said with the Patriots, can anybody in the last 10 years name one dominant Patriots offensive lineman? And they don't won 7 Super Bowls with 20 different offensive linemen every year. Why?
I could go as far as saying with the Falcons, like, look at Matt early years. We didn't have Pro Bowlers on our line, but they played damn good together. Sam Baker, Justin Blaylock, Mud Duck, Harvey Dahl, Tyson Claymore, them boys weren't like household names. But when they stepped on that field together, defensive linemen felt that pressure. They knew what they were going against. Some tough physical linemen. Like I said, individually, Harvey Dahl wasn't no all-pro right guard. But you best believe he was the dirtiest player that I ever saw play that game.
And he brought that physicality to the offensive line. I mean, hell, when we went to the Super Bowl, we had the same 5 guys heading to the Super Bowl.
So boy did not miss a game. So you can't tell me continuity don't matter when you literally have 5 linemen that played literally from game 1 to game 19 together.
Yeah. It's like we say this all the time, man. The trenches is where it starts and where it ends. If you can't win up front, you ain't winning anything. You know, so when I hear people say we want to win, if you can't win up front, you're not winning anything. You're not going to have a winning season. You're not going to contend for the playoffs. Don't even stop talking about Super Bowl and all that.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And that's why I said outside of Ramchick, I've seen Andrews Pete get smoked by not even just Grady Jarrett. I've seen him get smoked by Deedon Sanat. I've seen him get smoked by players that shouldn't be getting smoked. And Eric, whatever his center is, like I said, they do a very good job of keeping those guys in sync. They don't hold on to the ball for 3 seconds. Your offensive lineman is going to look better when you're not holding the ball for 15 seconds. Your offensive lineman is going to be quarterbacks like Drew Brees want to get that ball out, like Tom Brady, Matt Ryan. They don't hold the ball for 3 seconds. They don't do that. So their offensive linemen are going to be better. But when you talk about in the clutch, when you need Ramchick, can he stop a Khalil Mack? Absolutely not. Can he even stop, just a Dante Fowler? I've seen Dante Fowler do him up. I've seen Dante Fowler do him up even in the game when he was healthy, going against. I've seen Jacob Tatum Mariner against the Saints do them up. And them guys, you wouldn't dare say those guys are anywhere near great pass rushers. So I've seen the Saints offensive line struggle against trash offenses. And like, no disrespect to our defensive line, but those guys were not in sync at all. So, like I said before, and we're kind of going to the last we're going to last thoughts. But that's one thing. Like I said, with the Atlanta Falcons, there was one guy on the offensive line that I say is a Pro Bowler, and you can't deny that Jake Matthews. No matter how you feel about him and his untimely penalties, he's still one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent left tackle in the game. I don't think nobody in the game is more consistent than Jake Matthews. All right. The issue with the Atlanta Falcons offensive line is that they don't run the ball. It's really that's it. And that's his strength. That's Jake Matthews' strength. You see, when he's going forward, when he has an opportunity to punish you, he will put your ass in the dirt, Undertaker style. You know what I'm saying? He will put you in the dirt. He loves to put and smash people. He loves it. Caleb McGarry, Chris Lindstrom, that's their strength. This is why we went out and hired Arthur Smith. He loves physical offensive play. So this is what you're going to get. And I truly believe that this Falcons offense is going to be, much, much better in sync as far as just all around play calling. So we're going to get into the last thoughts. And whoever can go, anybody can go, man. Your last thoughts.
I'll go ahead and go, man. Hey, look, man. I do see Tony Wright in the chat. He said that Teron Armstead, the left tackle for the Saints. Those are the only two guys on the Saints offensive line that I would take on the Falcons. Teron Armstead, who's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and Ryan Ramczyk, who just got paid big dollars this offseason. As far as their centers and their guards, that's where the Saints are weak at on that offensive line. It's in the middle of that offense where you need to be strong at, to be completely honest. And that's where we've struggled here with the Falcons. We know that left guard position has been our weakness. That's why I'm so happy that they went out and drafted Jalen Mayfield. And that's the reason I want Jalen Mayfield to play that left guard position, is because that's where we struggle. As you know, K-Style said, we don't have 300 pounds of pudding still at that left guard position. You no longer have those two guys that we had there. That was the turnstiles. Brown and Carpenter. 300 pounds of pudding that we went out and signed 2 years ago. So with that being said, as long as we ain't got them guys on the roster no more, and we got a guy like Arthur Smith that we've seen take that Tennessee Titans offense to another level, because we've said that numerous shows. If you go back and watch our shows, the heavy hitter shows, Kicking It with K-Styles, if you go back to the beginning of Derrick Henry's career, he wasn't even the starting running back prior to Arthur Smith being the OC. They had DeMarco Murray, who was the starting running back, the former Dallas Cowboys running back.
I forgot about him.
He was a change of pace back. He didn't start breaking all of these records for rushing for 2,000 yards and becoming a Pro Bowler. Prior to that, if you go look at the first 2 years of Derrick Henry, he was not even the starter. So that just goes to show you Arthur Smith and that running scheme and his philosophies work. If you go look at his offensive line for Tennessee don't have many Pro Bowlers on that offensive line. Other than Taylor Lewan and Ben Jones, who's their center, I can't even name the rest of those guys. Saffold, they got guys they just got guys that understand the scheme. That's it. They don't have 5-star recruits and guys that were number 1 picks along that offensive line. It was continuity. That's all it was, continuity. So with that being said, our Falcons, we need to rely on letting these guys gel. Until these guys get out there and gel together, because we talk about 2016, all 5 of those guys being able to play all 16 games and playing throughout the playoffs. If we be completely honest, The only reason we possibly lost that Super Bowl, our center was playing on one leg. I believe they said Alex Mack had broke his leg, or he basically was playing on one leg. And if you look at that second half, he fell apart. Alex Mack fell apart in that second half on that broken leg, playing on that broken leg. So even on a broken leg, that shows how tough and how good of a player Alex Mack was. But that starting five of him, Jake Matthews, Andy Levitre, those guys, man, they did their thing. Those guys did their thing that year, and they were able to gel. So it's about continuity. These guys need to work together. It's not about having 5 Pro Bowlers up front. It's about guys understanding the scheme, guys working together, and building that continuity. Once you get that continuity up front, and hopefully these guys stay healthy, because that's the thing. Another thing, injuries. That's why we've been seeing Arthur Smith smartly. He's been mixing and matching these guys. I'm gonna play my second team and third team offensive line, because we might have to kick Mayfield out the right tackle. Somebody gets hurt, which we've seen numerous. What's been our biggest Achilles heel the last 3 years? Injuries. So it's a reason why we're seeing these second and third team, guys playing, because Arthur Smith has already said it. It's the inevitable in football. Somebody's going to go down at some point, even if it's for a game or so. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a season-ending injury, but guys get their ankles rolled up on. Guys may hurt their knee. Guys may hurt their arm. All kind of stuff happens during the game. So you never know from game to game who you're going to have to plug in. So that's what I'm looking for this season, is these guys building that continuity, because Rashard already talked about it. You guys know, I always say trench warfare. Whoever wins that on the defensive line and offensive line, whoever wins in the trenches is going to be the team that's going to be able to, sustain over the period of time of that 17-game stretch in the playoffs. If you don't have an offensive line that can protect your quarterback and that can open up holes, as he was talking about, them Derrick Henry size holes, it doesn't matter about the size of the holes. We just need guys that can. The last couple of years, our running backs been getting hit in the backfield. That just goes to show you right there. No continuity up front, soft mentality, and that's something that we're going to see change with Arthur Smith. He's bringing that tough mentality, which he brought to Tennessee. But prior to Arthur Smith being there, Tennessee didn't have that toughness. Arthur Smith brought that toughness and brought that scheme of downhill zone running. With that being said, I'm going to let you guys take it.
Look at that little.
Go ahead, Rashad.
I thought you were next, but my thing is this, man. I really feel like for the expectations for this season, I mean, I'm going to evaluate. Yes, we want our team to get wins, but what I really want to see this team do, especially the coaching staff, is to set the tone, man, for the season. Really tell the rest of the NFL universe, I'm saying, quote unquote, that this ain't the same old Falcons, man. Like, we ain't gonna be the same doormat that that people have been using us as a revolving door. Stop using us to get right team, because that's been our issue, man. We've been a soft football team for a long time. Even when Mike Smith was part of the team, we were soft to a degree with him. So my thing is this: for this season, it's all about setting the tone. It's all about being physical. All that bumper sticker slogans, all that fast and physical and all that. No, I need you to be physical. I need you to really tell people like, yo, this ain't no weak ass team anymore, man. I just feel that I need to see that from my Falcons, because as a longtime Falcons fan, I've been one since the early '90s. It's time for us to go back to that physical football that I used to see when I was a kid. So hopefully I see that this season. Because again, I mean, I'm just tired of seeing our team get pushed around, man. And give something for the fans to enjoy. Like, let's see our team win some games, man. That's how I feel about it.
Absolutely. LT? I know you've been conjuring up something over there. I know how your mind works.
Falcons fans. Let me holler at y'all real quick. So, y'all like what y'all saw Saturday for the last couple weeks? All that talk y'all had for the last few years about what life would be like if it could be so much better without our QB1. Y'all see that experience? Y'all like that experience? Y'all like that experience, don't you? That's what you're gonna be looking at once that man retires. Hell and high water. Oh yeah. Hell and high water. That's all y'all gonna be looking at. You see how the Dolphins still trying to find they replacement for Dan Marino? That's gonna be us. If y'all don't learn to support your damn quarterback. Support your quarterback.
And we got a troll in the chat. What's his name? Red Money 41. He was like, "Stat ride." Oh,
Stat ride.
Uh-huh.
Pull this comment real quick. I want to get a look at it. I want to get a good look at it. Stat ride. Somebody what y'all pull this comment? Stat ride. Okay, yeah. Mr. Red Money 41, stat ride. Let me tell you something, son. You don't understand the type of stuff that this. If we be honest, this man has really overachieved with what he had to deal with in his career. If Matt played for any other organization, any sensible organization, the man has multiple rings right now. We not gonna do that. You don't have the stats that he had, and here's the crazy part. Y'all like to talk about stat round, us losing games. Why we don't never put blame on the defense in years past of us losing games? How do you have a lead and then the lead get blown, but you blame the man that gave you the lead for the lead being blown? That don't even make sense to me. That don't make sense to nobody. Make it make sense. But what I'm saying is, support your team, support your players. With all this hate, like I'm still seeing some content creators out here talk about we should have drafted Justin Fields. Y'all like to hit on Justin Fields too? Y'all like that hit? That's what happens when your quarterback. That's what happens when your quarterback.
Well, hey,
that's what happens when your quarterback mobile,
rookie.
That's what happens when your quarterback mobile. Because what y'all fail to realize is mobile quarterbacks don't get the same thing as a pocket QB. Support your pocket quarterback because mobile QBs don't get that love. You take them shots. You got to take them shots. Why do y'all think Vic stay injured all the time? John Gruden said it himself in the booth when he was doing Monday Night Football. He used to go to the ref. Hey, ref. Now you know Vic a runner now, so you can't give him the special attention. They do that. They do that. So when you see your running QB take a big shot, you can't be looking like, hey, he's a quarterback. No, he's a runner. He's a runner. He don't get that same treatment. I.e. Robert Griffin III when they played the Falcons in 2012. All that running he was doing the first few weeks of who he met. Sean Witherspoon on that sideline. And what happened? Got knocked them smooth out the game. You was a runner. If you stay in that pocket, you be more effective. If you in that pocket, you're going to get that treatment when you in that pocket. But the minute you break that contain and you doing all that scrambling and running, why y'all think Cam stayed injured recently? All that running he did done caught up. We saw it all rise. Deion Jones, rookie season, knocked them smooth out the game because you trying to scramble for a 2-point conversion, and it cost you, the rest of that game. You got concussed. Support your quarterback, because I'm telling you, boy, life without Ryan, prior and after, it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty at all.
Not pretty at all. And I'll end it on this.
Mike, before you get off, I got one thing I want to say that was real interesting. With what LT was saying, I seen something earlier. I don't know what show I was watching, but they were talking about Larry Fitzgerald, and he stated that he doesn't feel like playing football right now. And when I was looking at I thought about Matt Ryan because it was saying it was Keyshawn Johnson actually talking about it on this show I was watching. It was a morning show. It comes on. It's a radio show that comes on ESPN. And Keyshawn Johnson was talking about, if I'm Larry Fitzgerald, I would rather go to another team that is closer to winning a Super Bowl than going back to Arizona if he decides to play this season. And what LT just stated about if Matt Ryan was on another team, he would have had a Super Bowl by now. What I want to know is, why doesn't Matt Ryan get the same treatment that a guy like Larry Fitzgerald gets? They play two different positions, but if you look at their stats, if you look at their career achievements, they're similar. Larry Fitzgerald, anytime his name comes up, people speak glowingly. They speak glowingly about Larry Fitzgerald. Everybody. I've never heard anybody say a negative thing about Larry Fitzgerald. This dude has been in the league of what, 15, 16 years?
He's the lovable loser.
Exactly. But I'm like, he's been to a Super Bowl just like Matt Ryan. He lost that Super Bowl against the Steelers. Nobody speaks negative.
Had a good game too.
Yeah, had a good game, just like Matt Ryan in the Super Bowl, had a great game. But I just want to know, why doesn't Matt Ryan get that same treatment? Because to me, they're the same. I've never heard anybody say Larry Fitzgerald's not a Hall of Famer. Never.
I wonder what's this on my skin right there.
Yeah. So that's what I want to say. The Arizona fans, I've never heard the Arizona fans say anything negative about Larry Fitzgerald. So it's the same thing with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan deserves that same treatment. If you look at those guys, I dare you guys to go look up what those guys have achieved in their careers. They just play different positions, but pretty much they're the same player. Both lost the Super Bowl. Larry Fitzgerald don't have an MVP. Larry Fitzgerald hasn't been the offensive player of the year. So that just goes to show you right there, like you were just talking about, we need to give Matt Ryan his flowers while he's still here. Because this guy is just like Larry Fitzgerald. First ballot Hall of Famer in my book. If you look at it, once it's all said and done, Matt Ryan's going first ballot. Same thing with Larry Fitzgerald. And I'm going to leave it at that.
I wonder what's this on my skin. I can't seem to get it off.
Oh my Lord.
Like, I can't seem to get it off. I'm trying to figure out what's this on my. I'm trying to. Maybe I'm colorblind. I'm just sure. I don't know. Maybe
that something to do with it. Maybe that's has something to do with it. Maybe that.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm colorblind. You know.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Hey man. Hey, I'll say this. Like I said before, man. We definitely appreciate everybody and their opinions, their thoughts, whether you differ from where we stand. This is a platform where you have the opportunity to speak your piece. But if you come in here with that, I got 5 quarterbacks better than Matt Ryan, and you can't show proof, your ass will get destroyed. I promise you, you will get destroyed on this show. We don't do that I think stuff. You better be able to show proof, the stats and the facts. That's all we want. I'm willing to be wrong. I want to be wrong. Please prove to me that Matt Ryan is just a stat guy. All right? Prove me that Tom Brady did not benefit from taping and recording people. Prove to me that Drew Brees was good before he got with Sean Payton. Hold
on. I'll be back. I gotta go get my ear pump.
Before Drew Brees got with him, he sucked ass. Okay, he couldn't stay healthy before he got with Sean Payton. So why is it that, again, maybe this has something to do with it? Just maybe that got something to do with it.
Maybe.
You don't run fast enough. Maybe there's something to do with it. But why is it that Matt Ryan, he put up all these stats? He's not the one that putting up 5,000 yards 4 years in a row. And probably more than that. I think it's like 4 or 5 years in a row. Matt Ryan didn't do that. That's Drew Brees. Drew Brees doesn't get labeled as a stat Ryan or stat Brees. Why is it that Matt Ryan? Why is it only him? The hypocrisy amongst these fans, the hypocrisy amongst the NFL media. This is the reason why I stated time and time again. If any content creator want to go one-on-one with me about Matt Ryan or any subject, please come on. Because I'm sick of a lot of people putting out these narratives that you know is garbage. You know it's garbage, but you're just trying to get clicks. You're not even a damn Falcons fan, but you done made 20,000 videos on Matt Ryan. You know what I'm saying?
We talking about somebody else.
Nah, we ain't talking about nobody else. It's a lot of them out there. They not a fan of Matt Ryan, but soon as something go, soon they need some clicks on soon they need clicks on their articles, on their videos, they make a Matt Ryan video or they make a Matt Ryan article saying this or saying that.
Don't Matt got a golden retriever as a pet? No, I'm going on mute.
Maybe that probably went over somebody's head. They probably went over the head. But again, you got to start holding these content creators responsible for the nonsense that they put out. They put out some absolute nonsense that they can't even back up. And they back it up with, oh, this is just my opinion. Well, that's not your opinion. If that's your opinion, you keep it to yourself. But if you have a massive following and you putting out nonsense, man, I'm coming for you. I'm just going to say it. Ju might not come for you. They might not come for you. But I'm coming for that ass, okay? I'm coming for that ass. You better be able to put it or you going to block me. Simple as that. I'm sick of these content creators putting out nonsense. They know it's nonsense just so they can get views. And that's all I got to say. We're going to continue to stay positive. But guess what? I'm not putting up with it this season. This season, you are going to get it. You getting that work this year. All right? You getting this work this year. I'm talking about look, I'm gonna give you the Derrick Henry. All right. I'm coming for 3-4 different people at one time who putting out nonsense. Because it's creating a divide within our fan base. How hard is it just to tell the truth? It shouldn't be that difficult. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be that difficult to just respect the fact that Matt Ryan is just a Hall of Famer. It shouldn't be that difficult to see that Felipe Franks is not ready. He's not ready to be a starter. It shouldn't be that difficult. But we're ready to label guys like Felipe Franks a starter because you just simply don't like a guy. So, again,
I mean, this is the same people that think 56 completion percentage quarterback going in the Hall of Fame. But I digress.
I like I said, I'm look, man. We got to do better as content creators. That's all I'm saying right there. We got to do better because we are, whether we see it or not, a lot of people look up to myself, to Ju, to these guys on the panel, Travis, Rashad. They look up to us. They want to be able to like. A lot of people don't know the history of the Atlanta Falcons. They don't know the history of the NFL. So they look for us to provide them with the truth. So if we're manipulating the truth, we are adding to what the fan base already is. It's a negative narrative. It's a negative narrative because everybody is telling false. They're not telling truth, and that's it. So with that being said, everybody can take it how they want to. I don't give a flying. You know what? But again, if you come with some nonsense, you better believe Mike got a screenshot, and I'm gonna be making videos on it, and I'm gonna call you by your name. All right, this is not the year for you to be putting out some nonsense and me not being able to see it, because I got people everywhere who gonna be sending me screenshots, aka Mr. ATM. All right, he everywhere. So believe it, I got eyes and ears everywhere. I got
ATM. He's like the FBI.
Everybody who making saying nonsense. All right.
ATM is like the FBI, man. And man, so Mike. So hold on, Mike. You gonna be coming in like Debo, huh? What you call him on 40?
Debo. Look, whoever it is. All right. Debo, Zeus. I don't care who it is. look, if you pulling out some nonsense and I see it, I'm making a video on it, all right? And you're getting smoked. And that's all I got to say about that. Everybody continue to support us. Head over to Ju TalkSports and his quest to 1,500. All right, 1,500. I'm almost at 6K myself.
Hey, that's what's up, Ju.
Hey man, Ju. Hey man, you talk about somebody who, if anybody that I always lay the red carpet down for is Ju. Ju is the absolute truth. He was the first guy that I had to have on my team because I respect the hell out of his knowledge. This dude is probably one of the smartest. He's probably the smartest Falcons fan that I've ever had the privilege to even know and to work with. So you guys continue to support your boy Ju, man. Head over to Ju TalkSports. Tyvon Watkins will report out to Robert Alford and Malcolm Butler.
Tell him, I'm about to put Ju to the test. You said Ju might be the smartest Falcon that you. We going to see about that.
Why you doing like that, man?
we going to see about that.
We're gonna have a debate, but to call this debate that Butler, they were celebrating halftime if the Super Bowl was in the bag, and y'all thoughts on it?
You already know my thoughts on that.
This will be the last. We're gonna try to make it as short as possible because it's been 2 hours. Also, I want to give Dirty Boy Bama Boy his shout out for $4.99. All right, we appreciate everybody for the continuous support of not only Ju TalkSports but AFN. Man, everything y'all do is everything we do is for y'all. But let's try to make this quick. Everybody thoughts on his Robert Alford coming out pretty much snitching and telling everything. What you guys think about it? Let's start with you, and then we'll go to Rashard and LT.
Y'all know what I feel about this whole situation. I mean, to be honest, I really don't care that he told Malcolm Butler as his teammate that they was all hyped and they was at halftime thinking that it was in the bag. If you go back and watch the Super Bowl highlights, they had players mic'd up. You heard Muhammad Sanu on the sideline saying, we finna put 30 on their heads or 40 on these guys. And then I don't remember, it was Taylor Gabriel, it was somebody on the sideline basically stated, but that's Tom Brady over there. That's basically what they told him. Like, chill out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we winning. But Tom Brady and the Patriots are not going to just lay down for us, basically is what they were stating. So we all know what happened. They came back and beat us. But at the end of the day, you could look at the final score. I blame the coaches. Just like y'all were talking about Arthur Smith earlier when he's like, okay, you just gained 2 yards. You want a cookie? Like, you ain't did nothing. Get back on the football. It's the same thing that Dan Quinn said it. Let's be real. Like, that's what Dan Quinn, he should have went into the locker room and whoever was in there celebrating, he should have tore that locker room up. You know how you see those movies where the coach get pissed off? That's what should have happened. So whoever was in that locker room, I really blame the coaches because any type of great leadership, when you go in and you see, basically we were front runners in that Super Bowl. That's basically what it states. If they were in there really popping bottles and at halftime and like super happy that we were winning the game and we had a whole second half to play, that'll show how immature of a team we were. Point blank in the period. But I blame coaching because your coaches, they should have came in that locker room and tore that locker room up. If that would have been Dan Reeves, we heard what former players had to say about Dan Reeves. They said we was in the locker room cutting up and stuff like that. When Dan Reeves came in the locker room, we straightened up. That's what Chris Draft, when we had him on the show, and Keenan Forney basically stated. It was like anytime Dan Reeves set foot in that locker room, everybody knew. Attention on deck, straighten up, have your helmet in hand, because he won't about none of those games. And pretty much that goes to show that our coaching staff didn't do their job. If they really was in there celebrating at halftime when we hadn't won the trophy yet, that just goes to show poor leadership. To be honest, I hold Dan Quinn, because he was the head coach, the most responsible, because he was in multiple Super Bowls with Seattle. So he should have known what Tom Brady could do because he did it to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So he should have known what the Patriots were capable of, and he should have went right in the locker room and said, "Calm down. I've had the lead before. Seattle was winning that Super Bowl as well, but they threw an interception to Malcolm Butler on the goal line. So he should have been in that locker room stating, calm down. We ain't did nothing yet. You can celebrate after we got the trophy." But evidently, nobody said anything. The players was hyped in the locker room. They thought the game was over. But a wise man once told me that game ain't over until that clock hit zeros. So you see zeros on that clock, don't celebrate. And we celebrated too early. And that just goes to show you we were front runners at the end of the day. And that's the reason why we didn't win that Super Bowl, is because we thought we had the game in the bag. It wasn't just the players. It was Kyle Shanahan. It was everybody on part of that coaching staff, because it all flows down from the head. So you can't just get mad at the players. You got to get mad at the coaches, because the coaches are responsible for coaching these players and telling these players what to do. It's just like having that boxing coach in your corner. He's telling you what to do. When he throw that right, you throw that left. When he do this, you throw that hook. So that was Dan Quinn's fault, and whoever those coordinators that was in that locker room, the states, calm down. This game isn't over. That's Bill Belichick over there. That's Tom Brady over there. These guys got numerous Super Bowls. They got Super Bowl pedigree. We know what these guys are capable of. Even though they had never been in a Super Bowl, those young players we know what the Patriots are known for. We know what they're capable of. So I feel like we let our guard down, but that all starts with the head. And that's the reason why Dan Quinn isn't here today. That's the reason why he got fired, because they were front runners. They thought, it's going to be easy to get back to the Super Bowl. Yeah, we lost. We blew it, but we're going to have another chance to get back. And look, it's been downhill from there. Like, we got worse and worse every year. And I'll leave it at that.
Whew. Rashad, you want to go?
Well, I mean, to kind of piggyback on what Juke said, it's just with me, for Rocky to make that confession, man, it just goes to show that, coaching will make or break your football team. I say this all the time. When you hear that, it just makes the loss more embarrassing, because you hear them say, "Oh, we were celebrating, we were hooting and hollering in the locker room." You mean to tell me, as a head coach, you're not holding people accountable for that? Like, dude, no, this is the first half. You celebrate when that clock hits 000, and you hear that. You just say to yourself that, man, I'm so glad Dan Quinn's gone, because as we all know, the players follow. They grab. Just thinking about it just gets me upset, because when you hear that, you can say to yourself, like, what were you doing, Dan? Like, where was your head at? Because you seen what Tom Brady has done to your team and done to Seattle, and you mean to tell me you come here and you don't change it up? Like, that's where it just gets kind of frustrating. Because we had a chance of winning our first championship if we would just catch those guys in line. But hey, we got cocky, got complacent, we got in over our head. And for the record, I know a lot of people in the chat may sound I'm sounding crazy when I say this. Based on what we heard, for what Rocky, confessed to Malcolm Butler, we didn't deserve to win that Super Bowl. Because again, we got cocky. We got complacent. We didn't have that bunker mentality. And the end result is that we blew a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. And we haven't recovered. We didn't recover after that. So with that being said, man, it's just that I feel like, I know it's early, but I really have a lot of faith in the current regime that we have now, because being that what I see with Arthur Smith, if we were in that same scenario with Arthur Smith, oh no, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen at all. We're gonna run that football. We're gonna keep everybody on the same page. And that's just how I feel about it.
All right, LG, let's go.
I'm gonna say something, because you said thinking about it pisses you off. You know why it don't piss me off? Because in that year we really been playing with fire that whole season. For me to refresh some of y'all memories, that infamous 300-yard game that Julio Jones had. Y'all do know it was in the fourth quarter, and the score was like 31 or 34 to like 14. And then literally when you blinked again, we was like in the middle of the like towards like the 5-minute mark in the fourth quarter or toward the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter, and the score was literally it was like an 8-point lead. We had knocked out Cam Newton after he scored, had a touchdown drive, and we let Darren Anderson throw like 2 TD passes that got them back in the game. We've been playing with fire that whole season. We actually blew a big lead like that several weeks after that game against the Chargers. We was up like 30-something against them, and then they walked us down by literally just doing crossing routes the whole second half. For some odd reason, nobody didn't pick up on that. I don't know why, but he did crossing routes the whole second half. They came back and beat us, and then ultimately the Super Bowl happened. On top of the fact that we broke an NFL record that season, that we won 6 games by allowing we won 6 games even though we allowed our opponent to score 28 points or better. Like that's not a record to have. Like it shows how great your offense was, but it shows how bad either your defense is or how badly coached your defense was. Be that as it may, looking at what we've been looking at, it went from being how bad the defense possibly could have been to basically now it's like they just wasn't coached up properly. So at this point, like that game and hearing them make that comment about you celebrating, I'm not surprised. Like I said, I like the Sanu little spunk that he had, but I can't say Sanu was arrogant at times, and that arrogance is really what got you in trouble. Because like you said, you like Ju said, I watched the mic'd ups in the NFL films, and you know the what they call turning point. You on the sideline, we about to get it picked up. We catch a pick 6. Okay, cool. But then you still celebrating like, but we gonna do X, Y, and Z. But the game ain't over yet. So now ultimately you lose that game, and now for Robert Alford to come out and say that, oh yeah, we was about ready to pop champagne in the locker room. We was up 21-3, this, that, and third. My final analysis on that is this. And I'm done.
Hey man, I'll just keep it short. Who the hell cares? I don't care. Why are you talking now? Your ass was on the damn ground crying during the Super Bowl when you lost. You should have ran your damn mouth then. All right, Robert Alford. Yes, he was on the damn ground crying. So I don't want to hear that now. All right, I don't want to hear none of that now. You should have been challenging your coach. You should have been challenging Shanahan. You should have been challenging Thomas Dimitroff. Nobody was willing to challenge anybody. So I don't give a damn about if you were celebrating or not. This is what we're talking about. This is why organizations get away with what the hell they get away. Because nobody was willing to challenge Bill Belichick. He allowed Bill Belichick and the Patriots to do whatever the hell they want to. We had all these coaches, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Colts, the Ravens, everybody was scared of them, and nobody challenged them. Nobody was willing to tell them, hey, bro, they straight up cheat. Nobody was willing to say that during the press conference. They just let them do it for 5-10 years, and nobody said anything. So all these players saying, oh, Tom Brady a cheater, or, you know, we did this in the playoffs. I don't give a damn. So if you're not willing to do something when it's going on, the 3 years after the Super Bowl, you still had a chance to get it right. I don't give a damn about what you're saying right now. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining us. All right. Continue to support your boys here at Atlanta Falcons Nation. You will continue to see LT. He will have his channel up sooner. At some point, I guarantee you that. Rashard is going to be a repeat guest throughout the season. We're going to have a lot of mixed faces on here. So like just stay tuned with us, man. All right. This is Atlanta Falcons Nation. And continue to send out a prayer to your boy K Styles food poisoning. And I know a lot of people know about food poisoning. That ain't nothing to be messed with. So you guys Send him some love. I know you guys can, follow him. Just show him some love. With that being said, you ain't got to go home.
But you got to get the hell up out of here.
There we go. All right. So, all right. Peace.